Hello everyone, I'm Ishwari learning in grade 7 Rose from Podar International School, Washam. India after the Mughals is our today's topic. So, as we all know that Mughals they ruled India from 1526 C to 1857 C. But the Indian Mughals or the Indian Mughal emperors till Aurangzeb ruled the India properly, whereas the successors of Aurangzeb were not good. So, we are going to learn about them. So the first thing we are going to learn is the factors responsible for the decline of Mughal Empire. First was economic crisis. So the Mughal Empire, as we all know, that it reached its zenith during the Aurangzeb's period. But then there were endless wars by which the military was also not good. The military resources were also flourishing. They were depleted. That's why economic crisis was a factor for decline of Mughal Empire. So the next is weak administration. So as we all know that the Aurangzeb's successors were not that much capable rulers, thus there was a weak administration, and even the subedars or the governors they used to collect very much revenue from the peasants, and even they used to manage the office of Diwani, that is revenue, and the Faujdari, which is military. So thus they hold the absolute powers, and this the state or the empire was in a state of anarchy because these zamindars, I mean the subedars, they used to utilize their extraordinary powers and they consolidated their position. So the next was revolts of peasants and zamindars. So as I told you that high revenues were collected from peasants. So thus the taxes were increased. So the peasants and zamindars they started revolting against it. Thus it is also a factor responsible for the decline of Mughal Empire. Foreign invasions. So rulers such as Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali invaded India or invaded Mughal Empire. So first, Nadir Shah. So Nadir Shah was the ruler of Persia. He plundered the city of Delhi in 1739 C, and his invasions they caused considerable damage to the Mughal Empire. He took out the Kohinoor diamond and the peacock throne of Shah Jahan. So the next ruler who plundered Mughal Empire was Macha Abdali. So between 1748 CE and 1761 CE, Ahmad Shah Abdali, a Afghan ruler, weakened the Mughal Empire considerably. The next was rivalry among the nobility. So the Mughal Empire it was furthermore weakened by the rivalry among the later Mughal nobility. So nobility it was divided into two types, two major groups, the Iranis and the Turanis. So the later Mughals they were like puppets to these two groups in these hands because the nobles they plunged the empire into bitter civil wars and they planned confusion and anarchy just to secure powers for themselves. So, just to keep themselves safe, they plundered all the Mughal Empire. Thus, the Mughal Empire was in the state of anarchy because there was nothing left with the Mughal Empire because of this two major groups, the Iranis and the Turanis. So the next is Mughal traditions of succession. As we know that the Mughal traditions of successions they were Timurid tradition. They were following the Timurid tradition that they were dividing their inheritance among all their sons and because of their as they were dividing, so there were many wars between the sons, and thus during the 18th century, these wars of succession became more destructive, causing loss of lives, prestige, and destruction of property. So the Aurangzeb's weak and inefficient successors they only hastened the process of decay. Means they used to faster the process of decay because of these wars. Now the last was arrival of the British. So the already weakened Mughal Empire received a staggering blow with the arrival of British. So, as we all know that I mean the Mughal Empire was already very weakened by the successors, by the by the foreign invasions, by the revolt among the nobility, by the revolts of peasants and zamindars, by weak administration, and by economic crisis. This was not enough, so British also came in. As we know that British arrived first during Jahangir's reign because they took permission from Jahangir to construct a factory at Surat, but now the British arrived. So by 1765, the British had brought major territories of Eastern India under their control and soon emerged as the master of India. So by 1765, the British it took or it brought its rule under the major territories of eastern India, and thus it emerged as the master of India. So already the Mughal Empire was weakened, so they were not capable to defeat the British. So Bahadur Shah Zafar too, he participated in the Great Uprising of 1857, and he brought the complete collapse of Mughal Empire because as he participated in the Great Uprising of 1857, so at that time he lost and Mughal Empire was totally flourished. It was collapsed and his sons were killed and he was exiled to Rangoon. So Rangoon is in Myanmar and where he died. In that city he died and thus Mughal Empire came to an end. So I hope these factors were crystal clear to all of you, and don't worry, this was just a part 1 because there are many things remaining, right, like the rise of new independent states, emergence of regional powers, and the case study. I will do this all in the next video. Up to that time, take care and thank you.